if you look at the size of the damages, this is $26,000 in damages. Ay, ay, ay. This is distressing. How would a landlord be responsible to pay for someone else's partying, somebody else's mistakes? So, this is where you always have to be careful. Number one, of the jurisdiction that you are investing in. Number two, how you are comporting yourself, because it's not as easy as it looks on TV shows where you just buy something and rent it out. This also will bring up the importance of you doing your due diligence, and I'm going to teach you a little bit about that at the end after we cover today's story. So let's jump straight into the article today that I wanted to show you. This is quite disturbing. Got a problem, tenant? So this is in Ontario, Canada. The tribunal is ruling it could mean that you are financially liable. $26,000 cost. If we check out this article, a recent ruling by the Ontario Tribunal should serve as a warning to condo owners who rent it out. Now, on February 10th, the Condominium Authority Tribunal found that both the tenant and the condo owner were jointly responsible. So if you look at the size of the damages, this is at Yonge and St. Clair, $26,000 in damages. Ay, ay, ay. So $8,500 paid by the condo owner, and the other $18,000 is going to be split by the condo owner and the tenant. So 2/3 of the fines is going to be paid just by the condo owner. So this is quite distressing. Right here, it says the landlord took no steps to rectify this complaint. Now, you guys, we have to always know the tribunal is trying to come to a fair decision, but they're also handcuffed by the law. And the way it works here is there's a lot of responsibility placed on the landlord. And so in this case, though they were partying, making noise, having fun, and whatever, if those complaints came through the condo board to the landlord, he has to try to do something about it. He can't just let it go and say it's not my problem. Now, in Canada, we also know that a lot, and I mean like a million people, are landlords from overseas. And so they're not going to get back. They usually don't do anything. According to the tenant started in June 2021, and the condo corporation received several complaints from the residents and from the security staff. Woo, food containers left in the hallway. How disgusting is that? Foul smells, tripping hazards, excessive noise, screaming, yelling, shouting, arguing, swearing, throwing items, banging, slamming noises. My goodness, like, look at this, 36 incidents. So I got to tell you, if this was me, I would be completely freaking out, right? Because all you care about when you rent something out is, will they take care of the unit and will they pay their rent on time? So this whole destructive behavior, they should have been able to see signs of that in advance. You should. But what do you do if you're caught with that, right? Wherever you are, any jurisdiction, you start having to make these warnings and get other people involved, whatever jurisdiction you are, to try to rectify the matter, because this cannot go on. And so this is, I think, why he was getting in a lot of doo-doo, I think. Of course, the tenant, what is he supposed to argue? Because they have all that garbage in the hallway and the noise saying I'm being singled out in a personal vendetta. Okay, whatever. I don't actually believe that. And it says the condo owner barely participated in the proceedings. Well, like I said, there was a million people overseas that own properties that don't do anything. So that really doesn't surprise me. I don't know where they are. But at the end of the day, this is what we have to do. Now, if we read on, the landlord and tenant board wanted to see if they had ever submitted documents to evict a tenant, but they didn't tell them yet. So it is possible we could have found out if they did try to evict. Now, depending on where you are, what jurisdiction you are, you should be able to evict based on all of these. They're breaking the terms of their lease. And we haven't even talked about damages to the units, which is becoming more and more common right now. So we're seeing this all the time, the damages to the interior. So what are we seeing in the rental market across Canada and the US? As the interest rates go up, the monthly payment is going up, which means more and more and more people can no longer afford to buy. So you only have a couple choices, right? Live in your car, rent, or buy. And so if you can't buy, and most people don't like living in your car, you're going to be looking for rent, because there's so many demands going into rentals now. Everyone's trying to get into rental. Prices of rentals are going way, 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 way up as well. And so we have to play this out. Now, this isn't just against landlords. I hear a lot of hate against landlords that are out there. It's not just landlords, because landlords are getting squeezed. Higher insurance, higher taxes, higher mortgages, higher everything, higher repairs. The list is endless. So we have to be careful what jurisdiction that we're going to go in and make sure that our risk tolerance and we understand the markets that we are in. If you are a foreigner and are buying a property here, yeah, you should be liable because you're not doing your job. So if you are a foreigner and you're buying property in another country, why don't you get it property managed by a company? Now, to get it managed by a professional company should cost you around 10%. Of course, if it's Airbnb, much more money than that. But get it professionally managed, you guys. That's what's going to save you right here, and have them do their job. So that's my first bit of advice. Now, if you were going to rent it out yourself, you got to meet with the people at least on Zoom. And so you can meet with them, look them up and down. Are they dressed well? Do they smell nice? Walk them out to their cars. Is their car really cleaned off? Is there any garbage in the back? Like, how many times I remember when you would go on dates, you would meet people for a couple minutes and you would know if they were like cool people or not, you know? So, of course, people can lie. I know, but you can get a good sense of people when you're visiting them and showing them around the property. Like, you want to put it to somebody who's going to keep your property real nice. And usually there's some symbols of that. In addition to that, we're seeing fraud at an unprecedented level that I've never seen before, where we're having fake, fraudulent credit score letters and fraudulent job letters all over the place. So this is the problem, is when you're in a jurisdiction that is very heavily tenant favored, you have to make sure you're doing all your homework up front, because you can't just evict them later for no reason. I would say you got to do extra diligence to make sure that it is accurate for their credit score and accurate businesses. So either you're going to go there, call their business, something to verify and make sure. Maybe they have an HR department. Make sure that they actually have that income in and it hasn't been interrupted at all. Secondly, you got to make sure that that credit score is accurate. Now, you could arrange for a call with their bank with their permission, obviously, to make sure that it's accurate. Or you can sometimes screen record them logging into the system to make sure that it's accurate. You have to do something to make sure that the information that they're providing you is accurate, because in a lot of places, if you're in, let's say, New York or San Francisco, or if you're in Quebec or Ontario, generally more liberal places, more democratic places, if you're there, it's generally more tenant favored. And then there's a spectrum, obviously. And as you get to more conservative or Republican states, then generally it's landlord favored places. And so the laws really, really change. So that's why when I say that you should diversify your real estate portfolio, yes, we should be in commercial. Yes, we should be in residential and multifamily and different areas. I always think that's important. Minimum of 3 areas. All right, you guys, keep on your toes. Make sure you're doing the right thing. If we're going to get in the business of real estate investment, we really have to run it like a business. We can't just buy the property and then let it run and not touch it, not do anything about it. You know, that's where you're going to get hurt in the long run. Anyway, you guys, I wish you the very best. Remember, the next 2 years is going to dictate the next 20 years of your life. Make sure that you send this to anybody that you think this could help. And if you have any questions, leave it below. I try to get to all of them. Thank you so much for coming by. We really appreciate it. Have a good night.